Chapter 8 is on cellular reproduction. Chapter 8, Section 1 begins with chromosomes, which are a combination of DNA and proteins that are coiled up in a rod-shaped form that occurs during cell division. So the majority of the cell's life, the chromosomes are actually in a form called chromatin. It's just an uncoiled form of that DNA. Histones are proteins that will help to compact the chromatin into these chromosome forms to prepare for cell division. So you can see in this diagram here, we've got a histone protein with the DNA wrapped around it, and then there are lots of those little histones that will help to compact the big long strands of DNA. There are also proteins called non-histones, which are involved in controlling activity at different regions of the DNA, but they're not involved in the packing process into the chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of two sister chromatids, which are exact copies of each other, that are connected by a centromere. So this would be a chromatid, and this would be its copy, its sister chromatid, and this is the centromere. And during cell division, those sister chromatids will get separated apart. So each new cell will get one copy of each chromosome. So here's another picture here's our original chromosome that gets duplicated. Now it's formed sister chromatids. So this one copy is the exact same as the other side, attached by that centromere. And then when we form the two new cells, one sister chromatid goes to each new cell. Each species has a characteristic number of chromosomes in their cells, and our number is 46. So all of our cells, with exception of our sex cells, have 46 chromosomes. Every species is unique, and the chromosome number doesn't necessarily give you information about how evolved something is or how smart or fast something is. It simply is the number for that particular species. Of our chromosomes, 44 of them are autosomes, which are just our normal body chromosomes. And the last two are sex chromosomes. So for humans, we can have either two X chromosomes, which would make us female, or an X and a Y chromosome, which would make us male. Homologous chromosomes, which are also called homologs, are pairs of chromosomes that are the same size, shape, and have the same types of genes on them. You get one of those from your mom and one from your dad, and they will be different from any other homologs. In sexual reproduction, as I mentioned, each one copy of each of those autosomes will be given from each parent. So here's a diagram of those. Here's our sister chromatids. Okay, so we've got sister chromatids attached by a centromere, and then these, one of these would be from mom, one of these would be from dad, and this would make a pair of homologous chromosomes. And these little colored lines are just representing the different types of genes that could be on these chromosomes. A karyotype is a photomicrograph, or a picture basically that's taken with a microscope of chromosomes in a living cell. So in humans, again, we'll have 22 homologs to give us our 44 total autosomes and 2 sex chromosomes. And they get lined up from largest to smallest. Okay. There's our 22 pairs, and then the last two will be our sex chromosomes. So in this case, this one is for a boy, since it's got an X chromosome here and a Y. If there were 2 X's, then this would be a girl. And a karyotype can tell you not only the sex of the baby, but also certain genetic disorders. For instance, trisomy 21 is Down syndrome. So instead of having 2 copies of your number 21 chromosome, you would have 3 copies. And that would be an indication that that child would then have Down syndrome. Cells can also be diploid or haploid. Diploid represented by a 2N and haploid represented by a 1N. And diploid just means that there's 2 sets of chromosomes. So our diploid number is 46. Our haploid cells are cells that contain half that number of chromosomes. So the only cells that we have that are haploid are sex cells, so either sperm cells or egg cells. And they would each have 23 chromosomes. The reason for that is because we produce sexually. So you would have your sperm that's haploid that fertilizes your egg that's also haploid, that will then combine, and that will make the first new diploid cell of that new organism. So that baby's first new cell will be diploid because it will have a full set of chromosomes from dad and a full set from mom. So 23 and 23 to total out to your 46 chromosomes that a human should have.